Well, hopefully not many people are there yet, but yes, listen, I'm going to introduce you. You know, my name is Moni C. I'm a mindset coach, and I love interviewing experts in the field of health, healing, the mindset. And today we have the beautiful Diane Beck, who is going to talk to us about inner confidence and how to achieve correct the inner confidence that you need to face today's difficulties. So Diane, tell us a little bit about yourself, and yes, what are you doing today that it's so special?
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's really lovely to see you again, Moni. What am I doing for people's inner confidence, did you say? And specifically, what I do specifically is I help people reconnect to their intuition, whether they're like CEOs and they're having to make a really rapid decision and they've just been overwhelmed and they've got many people that are talking to them, they don't know who to listen to, or whether it's somebody who's in leadership, whether that's in their family leadership or they're in a position where they're having to lead people through a certain situation. And for me personally, with the way I found it was my own sort of life leadership and working out in a world of, quite frankly, fakeness, what is true and what is truth. You know, what we're told is true, we'll buy it for a while, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily truth. And so what I help people do is reconnect to, there are so many different words you can use for this. It's not your deep unconscious mind. For me, very much it sounds like soul when the wisdom comes out of people's mouths. And this has not got religious connotations at all, which we'll probably talk about, but it's such a deep voiced intuition. So it's not like just having a yes, no, stop, go, should I, shouldn't I feeling. It actually talks to you, which is like on a whole other level fantastic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you, how do you do it? I want to know everything about
I
this
know,
technique.
it's crazy. When I first found it, it kind of I didn't know what was going on. It kind of blew my mind. But how I help people connect to it, because it's not obviously not me doing it. It's me. My job is to reconnect people to it. And when I connect clients to this and people that kind of find me for this, I take them into the heart. There's a, I want to say portal, without trying to sound new agey. I'm really not a fan of the new age movement, and so forgive me if I try and bypass the language. I want to keep it really down to earth and grounded. Um, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to use language which might sound a bit woo. So forgive me for that. But it's such a real thing that I want to keep it grounded. But I take people into their heart using their mind in a very specific way. So it's like I want to teach them how to listen with their emotions, because we hear with our ears, but we listen with our emotions. And it's listening with the emotion and feeling into the body, which is the first key. And then I take them into the heart, which is really important to go into this place in the body for various reasons that we won't kind of go into now in depth here. But going into the heart's very key, and it reconnects them to a very specific energy frequency. And all of this work is about frequency. So if you think like a voice is a frequency down a line of a phone connection, or we're using frequencies now as we're on YouTube, the same is true in the body. The body listens in frequency. And so you don't have to worry about that too much when you're doing it, but you just know that you're listening for a very specific frequency. So it's very much about feeling, and you get to really tune the dial to know what's truth and what's not. That's the first
It
step,
it
Moni. It's
sounds
so cool. It's so
incredible.
fascinating.
It sounds incredible, and I can't wait to try it. Now, you have people watching. Do you see people watching on YouTube, or because I
What?
can't even. It's my first time here, and I
Let's
cannot
have a look.
even.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've actually turned that page away so that I can concentrate on you, so there was no feedback. You mean in case there's any questions that come up?
Yes, yes, and
Mm.
I think we should tell people to write if they have any questions at any
Okay.
time. They can always, leave a comment, and you will check. back
Yeah, I mean, even
reply.
after this has gone live and it's going to go beneath, on my channel. Like, if there are any questions, I can always come back to it, and I can answer you personally about that. Just the
Yes, just leave a comment.
multitasking of that right now, I think might blow my head. I'm not really a
Yes,
technical, but give me a
I
give me a
know.
body. I can
I
connect people to their higher self and unconscious and soul, but I can't do this.
Wow, so
Um,
this sounds amazing, Diane.
Thank you.
So you work with men and women, correct?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And
okay.
so, I mean, this is for anybody who has the maturity and the moment in their life where they're thinking, I now need to actually lead. And I say maturity because it often, for somebody to want to do this, it often takes either a crisis or it takes them to finally give up on looking for answers outside of them. So, this can be typically in relationship, they keep getting into the wrong relationship and they're listening to friends and family, they're not really trusting their intuition, or it can be in business situations or life crises where they're like, I literally don't know what to do, or I don't have any purpose, I don't know what to do with my life. This is when you want to be connecting to a very deep voice within you. And you know what the cool thing is, Moni, as well, about this voice that comes through, and I say it's a voice, is when I've worked with groups doing this and I've connected a client to it and I connect other people to it, the voice has the same kind of wisdom to it. So to me, and when I've spoken to unconscious minds as a hypnotist for getting on 16 years now, in hypnosis, we can talk to kind of parts of an unconscious mind. It can have like a young part or an older part, or what I'm connecting to with clients does not feel like or respond like a part would. So for any hypnotist watching this thinking, oh, like I might cynically as a hypnotist go, oh, you're just talking to a part of that person. That isn't like their soul. But the reason why I'm saying it's not a part is because of the kind of information that comes back and the type of healing that they get. It's kind of mind blowing, and where it can take them on journeys as well, which is also a completely different like aspect of this. There are so many different things that I've done with this over the years now with clients, but the initial thing is I'm going to connect you to the part of you that has this very profound wisdom, calm. There's like zero fear in that place, which is another reason why it's probably not a part, because it doesn't seem to have like the emotional frisson that, like a part might have a little bit of anxiety to it or an issue. This is just very calm, very deep, and comes back with incredible, like almost like maternal or paternal kind of deep wisdom that often has the client then feeling emotional because then they realize I'm really being helped inside by, and I could never know to say some of these things with the greatest wisdom will in the world. I just kind of guide to them, to themselves at this deep place, and it's so beautiful to watch them come back with like their own library of incredible wisdom, which is why I've called it soul, because the only part I can think of, the only aspect of us that has that access to that kind of wisdom and knowing of things that they wouldn't otherwise know is the soul.
And how long does it take? Everybody's different, but how
Mm.
long does it take? How many sessions do you need? Or maybe it can happen the first session to get to that deep, deep level.
I would say it can happen really quickly because I know where I'm taking them. However, the people that when I get to the point where I've then suggested, do you want to kind of go deeper? Because it really does install an incredible amount of awe and self-respect doing this process. So I typically would do this after I've done a lot of emotional healing and clearing away the immediacy of stress that would otherwise stop people listening. But let's say that somebody's coming to this and they're already in a place of self-reverence, calm. It'd be that would be a very quick connection, I'd expect. Or somebody like really enjoys meditation. That can also be really beneficial as well because they're used to switching off the mind. If somebody's in high stress, I'd probably want to clear that stress first.
Mm.
because it's about going
And
in, and
do, do,
it's all
do you do you find, I mean, what is the, do you have a minimum age that you work with?
no, you know, there's like I would say 16 is the youngest that I've done really, but I probably I don't know why I wouldn't, but possibly because I don't tend to work with much younger people in what I do. But I genuinely think this is for everybody. In fact, if you know, intuitively speaking, I feel that younger people would have a stronger access to it anyway. It's almost like the older we get, the further away from self-trust we can get.
Mm, mm,
And we rely on devices so much, and we rely on other people and systems that actually this is the reversal of that. And I
mm,
think it's such a great thing to learn to do
mm,
massively the more
mm,
AI is coming in.
mm,
Because what it also has an incredible access to do as well is tell you the truth. And what I also know as a hypnotist, you know, is your autonomic nervous system is scanning through millions of bits of information per second, you know. So even just asking the unconscious mind which is true and which is not, you can get very clear answers. But to have an eyes wide open, not in trance per se, conversation with a part of you, that with the soul of you that's saying, giving you all this wisdom is on another level. Whereas if I was
mm,
talking to a client about accessing truth as a hypnotherapist, I'd be taking them through different brainwave states. We get them to like a theta brainwave state. With this,
mm.
clients have got their eyes open, chatting to me. I'm asking them questions and guiding this, and then they're coming back. They're getting the information, and then they're telling me what you know what is coming up.
Mm.
So
And
it's very different.
I had a question. Um, um, wait, for 1 second. But my question was talking about the young people. Yeah, I was actually thinking about my son who's 20 years old, and he's starting to, you know, not understand his feelings, and meeting new girlfriends, and being confused by what is right and what he should do. So also I think it
Mm.
would help a lot to give some type of direction. Oh, this was my question. My question was, do you with this technique, are your clients then able, after a certain number of sessions, to do it themselves? Do you give them the
Yeah.
tools to do it on their own?
100%. I don't want me to be, I don't want to be in the way at all. This is a relationship with yourself ultimately. But it does take practice. And what I've defined over the years is how to not only connect them to it, but to use it to heal.
Mm,
So, for example, there was a lady who we were recording this session, which is like, it was phenomenal to watch it. She'd had fibromyalgia for about 7 years, which was like she couldn't touch her skin without it being painful. She would often be exhausted and be in bed for a lot of the day. And this had happened since a divorce. And since that divorce, that shock and that pain seemed like it had been internalized. Using the skills in the past, I would have gone a completely different healing route for that. You know, it's often very emotional and layers of emotion. This time, because of this technique, I asked her permission to, can we kind of go there with this, my soul signal mapping, this technique that I use. And it took about 20 minutes, half an hour, and the whole lot was gone.
wow,
Yeah.
that's
And
incredible.
so the questions that I can hand it over to somebody to reconnect with themselves. Excuse me. So that they can reconnect with their soul, but to learn how to do the healing, to learn how to take it on different directions, I have a series of I've got a methodology there in a series, and that just does take a little bit of learning, and it can be beneficial having somebody else guide you through it at the beginning, at least. I can still find it hard to do this on myself without absolute concentration, because you're both so beautifully connected to the soul, and it's such a gorgeous feeling. You want to stay there, and then you also want to guide it. I heard some feedback there, but I'm sure we're all right. So yeah, you want to be able to guide it too. So it does take practice, and it does take learning and understanding of like how to connect. But there seems to be no limit
Mm,
to what it can do. You know, if you think that your unconscious and your soul has really the driving seat of the body and the nervous system and the cellular turnover, and as a hypnotherapist, I know this, the unconscious mind is unfathomably amazing, especially at healing and reprogramming our autopilot. However, this very much was to me more shocking because it feels next level. It feels like a through line to wisdom without being in trance, which is like the extra cool bit, you know?
So people
Which
are
is
not in trance. So it's called soul single mapping.
soul signal. So the signals and the
Soul
reason
signal
signal,
mapping. Okay, okay,
yeah.
yes. And how long does it last?
It lasts as long as you want to keep the connection. And so I would say if you want to connect, and I recommend clients to go in through the heart and do this connection regularly to kind of build this like muscle memory of how to do it. It's almost like the more you do it, the quicker you get, the clearer it gets to connect. With something like a healing, like I said, with that client and me guiding her, it did take about 20 minutes, half an hour, but it did take her a couple of days of rebalancing because her whole energy system, she told me, was just kind of recalibrating everything that had gone on because that was a fast healing. And then there's the like, okay, I want to now like balance everything. She said, here's the really interesting thing as well, Moni, which is like something that I hadn't even foreseen it would do. It starts to switch on people's psychic abilities. So the clients that I'd started to work on and work with this, I mean, this should be no surprise, right? Because we're multifaceted beings. We're just not taught this stuff. But and when you start to work with energy, of course, and meditation, that this kind of thing can happen. But the speed at which it happens with clients connecting to this channel, it's like clients have said their intuition is tuned up massively. They get sensory feelings. Like I work in a very intuitive way as well. That's developed for me over 16 years. So I read energy now, and I can almost like read people like a barcode in terms of like where their problem is behind the noise now. And however that is going to sound, it just does really tune me up. And it seems like clients, in a very speedy way, much quicker than it took me, are starting to get their own abilities to switch on. And this particular lady, she was like telling me that she had all kinds of visions, and her hands were going places listening to one of my meditations that I gave her after she'd done this process. And similarly, clients become very connected with an energetic truth part of themselves. Describe that however you want. I'm trying to keep the language really grounded because I'm aware of how it may come across, and I want this to be for everyone. I've been a healthy cynic most of my life, and I don't think it becomes that healthy when it stops you doing things, you know. So I've had to park my cynicism to be able to actually accept that I start to see energy. I can read people like a book, and it's just how it kind of like has transpired over the years. But do know that these things are available to you, and they're very, very real.
And you give, so the after the person, like for example this last client that you had with the fibromyalgia,
Yeah.
does she have like a maintenance program? You give them, exercises, or they come back and see you every so often, or how does it work?
Well, it depends on the person. If
Mm,
people have come back and read, this lady, that fibromyalgia is gone. I mean, fibromyalgia wasn't the problem that she came to see me for. We did that in a session over a program to heal her heartbreak, which is one of the other things that, I've done for years, which is helping women just heal heartbreak. So she was on that particular program because again, it's matters of the heart affect us, and it's like the heart is the way in. So I'm always working with the heart. But when I took her in, we cleared the fibromyalgia, which was like a byproduct of
mm,
something that was in the way of us getting deeper. Um, but this technique is on its own, stand alone is for men and women, anybody. It's not just the clients that had been on that other particular program.
mm,
But yeah,
mm,
people
mm,
can come back, and when clients have come back, there was a doctor that would come and see me. She would come back with this, and we would just go deeper and deeper because she was fascinated by it, and we would go in different journeys, healing different things, and not me healing it. I'm a kind of like a conduit, facilitator of this. This feels very much like I'm some kind of custodian of this knowledge. I'm like found this knowledge, but I do feel that people can go wherever they want with it. Yeah.
It's incredible. Well, Diane, you tell me if you want to. I want to continue learning as much as I can. I wish I could do. I mean, do you work also online with clients? Do
Oh, yes,
you?
all the time. I mean, I do most of this work online. So,
Huh,
yeah, I do work with clients in London and Manchester for like big
in
clearing
person?
events and in person, and when I do retreats occasionally, but that's in person. But mostly this is online, so it can be anywhere. And in fact, the client that I told you with the fibromyalgia, that was online. That was like a Zoom call. We did that in 20 minutes. Yeah.
That's
So it's
incredible.
really flexible because, of course, it's energy's energy. It doesn't require us to be physically in the room. It's
It's
providing that somebody's
fascinating.
gonna, yeah, follow the guide, follow the instruction. If you can use your imagination and you're willing to follow that guidance from me and trust that I've created a really safe haven, in that space, a really safe container, there's no reason why you can't be anywhere on a phone, laptop, yeah, and do
As long
that.
as you're in a relaxed, relaxing
Yeah, for
space
sure.
and you're safe, you feel it's
Yeah.
safe. Yes. Well, it's
But you,
quite interesting. I would love to do like, I don't know, a sample. I don't know,
Oh, I'd love
one
to do a
day.
sample. Well, maybe we should do, maybe you can be a sample, a live sample next time, and we'll kind of like set that
Oh,
for you to do, and I'll talk you through it. Um, I'm quite protective of the technique currently as well. Like we were saying, my
yes. And
mind's
also, I don't know
talking
what
to
I'm
it.
going to say live, so it's better that I
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
And also
we
clients can get
can,
a bit, emotional when they connect. So me
yeah.
and you would probably have
That's
to talk about
why
that.
it's very
In a
personal, it's
beautiful
very
way, though.
private.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fascinating, and it's incredible. You're helping so many people around the world, so this is you are a very, very special human being who is here to help others. And you I would love to, learn more and more your your technique, and what you're
Absolutely.
doing to yes, this is so important, because so many people, again, they wait. What we're trying to say also is that don't wait until you hit rock bottom. Don't wait until
Mm,
you when some people already know that they are not doing the right things, or they're not on the right path, or they're not, and they have some, some red flags around along the way, but they just don't do anything, and it gets worse and
yeah.
worse and worse until,
Yeah.
it gets really bad. So before you do that, make sure you know you see Diane, and
I'd
this
love to
is
talk about that, Moni. I'd love to kind of come in and share that because I found this technique when I was at rock bottom. So there's being at rock bottom is nothing to be ashamed of, when I was at my absolute lowest, and I've had a few of those. I think the
mm,
way the things that I offer and the work that I do, I've learned these things from having to go through it and go through some pretty awful times. I have studied with people and mentors in the past, but there's nothing like having to
going through it.
go through it. And I would agree with you that if over time this kind of tends to happen when people have already found something that helps them, they then don't go that far down the ladder. But we do as human beings, don't we? Just wait until we're cornered, and we just don't have any choice unless we do something about it.
Mm.
But this technique is a practice. I would say it becomes a lifestyle. I connect in at night. I connect in the morning. If I'm driving the car now, doing a coffee, I can connect in. So it's not like, it's like hypnosis where you have to be careful of your operating
Ah,
machinery.
yes.
Because when you establish the connection, you can start, like I can feel it now, and I'm not asking any questions, so there isn't the depth there. But it just gives you a very, for me, like a very solid sense of knowing, inner clairsentience, if you like this knowing. Um, it goes beyond basic yes or no. You can start to get communication up. And I think that, when people start talking about communicating to their guides or listening to like an inner voice, and I wonder if that is what we're also tapping into. For some people, when they're tapping in, they're getting this incredible information. You know, if a guide is going to talk to you, they're going to be using the availability of the instrument you've got, yeah? But whatever that wisdom is, it's pretty special. So it's a great thing to learn how to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And well, so you're gonna do this every week, right?
I'm going to
We're
be
gonna
hosting. I'm going to
try.
do some. We can do some. Yeah, definitely. But I'm definitely going to be coming on here and doing some guidances to help people, and my book as well. That I'm in the middle of writing this authority to actually guide you how to do it. This inner authority book, because it's going to give you massive amounts of authority. So when that is ready for you to, download, purchase, then that will help you actually follow my instructions, because it's very specific, but it will give you like a book way of following it as well. That's going to be important.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's gonna go with the soul signal mapping
Yeah.
technique. You're gonna get the book too, right?
Mm,
To follow.
yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
wonderful. Yes. When is it gonna be published? Soon.
Or okay, well, we're aiming for like
Pressure,
beginning of
some pressure
March.
here.
It's like it's in production. But like just on the title as well, like the soul signal mapping. Why is it soul signal mapping? Because people are like,
Mm,
why have you called it that? Because the cool thing to notice, well, when you start kind of connecting in, is your body is also, when you think like your body's in between, and the body is like a little like interface between this wisdom and your head. And so the body gets involved, and the body starts giving you signals. I mean, it's giving us signals all the time anyway, but it will start to give you very specific signals. And so I teach people how to talk to the signals, and that also then talks to the wisdom. So the body's part of it. I mean, it's so if you've got an ache or a pain, we can go in and talk to the ache and pain, but rather than it being hypnotic, we're actually talking through the pain again to the wisdom, to have the wisdom help heal that pain or heal that issue using the signals. So the soul and the signals kind of like maps through the body, and it can take you from one place to another place because they might be connected. It's like it's an extraordinary journeys people can go on. It's really cool. So
oh,
I'm in love with this process, and I think
fascinating.
I really want to share it. Yeah.
Fascinating, fascinating, Diane. Well, thank you for sharing all this, and thank you for creating it, and for making the world a better place, because that's what you're doing, overall, And
Thank you.
I hope to see you again next week.
Fantastic.
So thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And